Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about a topic known as computer fundamentals. Moving on to the first slide. Introduction. We find computers everywhere around us, at home, in schools, hospitals, railway stations, and so on. What is a computer? A computer is an electronic machine that takes an input, processes it, and produces the desired output as required by the user. What is computer made of? It is a combination of two terms, which is hardware and software. ಈ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? The physical components of a computer that can be seen and touched forms the hardware. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸರ್ ನೋಡುವಂತಹ ಮತ್ತೆ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಫೀಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಮಾನಿಟರ್, ಮೌಸ್. These all are physical components which can be seen and touched by an user. So hence they form the hardware. Then what is a software? Software andre eno? A set of instructions that we give to the computer to perform a particular task constitutes a program. These such programs put together form software for a computer. For example, operating system, antivirus, or MS Office, computer games. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್. These contain set of instructions which are written by the user to perform a dedicated task. Hence, these are known as software for a computer. Moving on to the next slide. Working of a computer. The way a computer works can be broadly categorized into 4 steps. ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಹೇಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು 4 ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. The first step is to receive input, which means to accept data or information from user through various input devices like keyboard, mouse, scanner, etc. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸರ್ ನಿಂದ ಡೇಟಾವನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸುವುದು. The data given by the user can be of any type. It may be a character, it may be an image, ಅಥವಾ it may be a string, that is a sequence of characters. Next step ಬಂದು process information, which means to perform either arithmetic or logical operations on the data. Arithmetic ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? This arithmetic includes our normal mathematical applications or mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. They all come under the category of arithmetic operations. Then, what is this logical operations? Logical operations andre operations whose results are Boolean, which means either yes or no. In case of a computer, the result is either 0 or 1, representing yes or no. The third step is to store information. The result obtained from this previous step needs to be stored in a storage unit. So this step performs that it stores the data in storage devices like hard disk, CD, and pen drive for later use. The fourth step is to produce output, which means to display the stored data, to communicate the data that we have got to the user through any of the available output devices like monitor, printer, etc. Moving on to the next slide. Here you can see a block diagram of working of a computer. ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಹೇಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತೋರಿಸಿದೀವಿ. Here you can see an input, which is the data given by the user, which may be of any type as mentioned earlier, like an image, like a character, like a number. It may be of any type. Here you can see CPU, that is the central processing unit. Adralli you have more terms. The first one is your control unit. Control unit basically performs all coordination activities. So idu signals na receive ಮಾಡಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಹೇಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. The second one is arithmetic and logical unit, which performs either arithmetic and logical operations on the data. The third is the memory unit, where the data is stored. The stored data is again displayed to the user through any of the available output device that forms the output. Let's take a simple example of a classical calculator. Here, in a calculator used on a computer, the input given by the user is nothing but numbers. The numbers given, the CPU performs arithmetic or logical operations. In case of a calculator, it performs arithmetic operations, that is a simple add, subtract, division, multiplication based on user requirement. The data is stored in a memory unit, then again which is displayed on the screen as an output. Moving on to the next slide. Components of a computer. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ 4 ಮೇನ್ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ದಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಯೂಸರ್. ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಮೌಸ್, ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನರ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕಾಮನ್ ನಾವು ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್. Then the next component we have is your central processing unit, that is abbreviated as CPU. This is called as brain of the computer. Why is it called as brain of the computer? Because it controls the complete working of the computer. So the third component is your memory. The data and instructions are stored in this component of the computer. Hard disk, DVD, pen drive, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಕಾಮನ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್. ದ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆರ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್. ಸೊ ದ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನಿ ಆಪರೇಷನ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್, ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಕನ್ವೇಡ್ ಟು ದ ಯೂಸರ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಹೆನ್ಸ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ದಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ದ ಡಿಸೈರ್ಡ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್. ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್. Input devices. So an input device is used to get data or instruction from the user, as mentioned earlier. So this data is then passed on to CPU to perform some processing, that is some operations on the data, and so that the result can be given. So keyboard and mouse are two common input devices. There are other devices too, such as OCR, which is known as the optical character recognition, magnetic ink character recognition, which is abbreviated as MICR, which can be used as per the requirement of the scenario. Moving on to the next slide. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಕಾಮನ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ನ ನೋಡಬಹುದು. The first one is our keyboard. So what is a keyboard? Keyboard is very much like a standard typewriter that we traditionally used, but it might also contain a few additional keys. So generally we have like a QWERTY keyboard with 104 keys on it. The additional keys may include some modern options for multimedia playing, such as a dedicated button to play the video or dedicated button to pause the video. So our next common input device is our mouse. So mouse, it is basically a pointing device. Now mouse na ಒಂದು pointing device ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, which controls the movement of cursor or pointer on display screen. Mouse is basically a very small object that you can roll along a hard and flat surface. As you move the mouse, the pointer on the display screen moves in the same direction. Mouse ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1, 2 or 3 buttons ಇರಬಹುದು. As you can see here, 1, 2 and middle ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು scroller ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So depending on the design of the mouse, it may contain either 1, 2 or 3 buttons and a scroller. So ಆ ಬಟನ್ ಗಳ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಂದು it varies depending on what program is running. Moving on to the next slide. Another input device is scanner. Scanner andre ಏನು? Scanner is an input device that can read text or an illustration printed on paper and translate the information into a form that computer can use. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಾ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದಟ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಕಾಪಿ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಸಿಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್, ವಿಚ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎನಿ ಪರ್ಪಸ್. So how does a scanner work? Scanner works on a principle known as digitizing an image. Digitizing an image andre eno? So the input given by the user is for first primarily divided into a number of grid boxes. ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳಾಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಯೂಸರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ನ. It fills each box with either 0 or 1. ಸೊ ಹೇಗದು 0 or 1 ಆಗಿ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ವೆದರ್ ದ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಂಟೈನ್ಸ್ ಎನಿ whether the box is filled or not, based on that it fills a box with either 0 or 1. So idrinda ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ, the resulting is a matrix of bits. We call it as bitmap. This bitmap can be stored in a file, displayed on screen, or manipulated by programs. Moving on to the next slide. So ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, that is your optical character recognition, abbreviated as OCR. An optical character recognition is a device that is used for reading text from paper and translates the image into a form that computer can understand. ಈ ಒಂದು OCR, that is optical character recognition, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದರ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎನಿ ಬುಕ್ಸ್, ಮ್ಯಾಗಝೀನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್, ಅ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ದಟ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಅ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಅ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ರೆಕಗ್ನಿಷನ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್. ಸೊ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಇಂಕ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ರೆಕಗ್ನಿಷನ್, ಆಲ್ಸೋ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ MICR. What is MICR? MICR ಅನ್ನೋದು, it can identify characters printed with a special magnetic ink. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಇಂಕ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರ್ದಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ನ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಡಿವೈಸ್. ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ MICR or magnetic ink character recognition. This device is particularly used in banking industry. ಹೇಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, the checks we use for transactions, ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಕ್ MICR ಕೋಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So these checks have unique MICR code on them that can be scanned using an MICR device to find whether the check is valid or not, whether the transaction is valid or not. Moving on to the next slide. So barcode reader is one common input device that we see. A barcode reader is an input device that is generally seen in supermarket, bookshops and libraries. So basically barcode andre reader andre enu andre, it is a photoelectric scanner that reads barcodes. What is barcode? Barcode is vertical stripped black and white marks. So ನೀವು generally ಯಾವುದೇ ತರದ್ದು supermarket ಅಥವಾ libraries ಹೋದ್ರೆ, if you pick a product, you can see black and white marks on it, printed on it, that is scanned while buying it. So these are barcodes. So the barcode reader scans the barcode of the product and checks the description and latest price of the product. So the next input device is your digitizing tablet. So what is a digitizing tablet? This is an input device that enables you to enter drawings and sketches into the computer. Major visual manipulation softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator, they all make use of digitizing tablet to receive drawings and sketches from user. It consists of a simple pen which looks like our small ballpoint pen. Of daily use ಮಾಡುವಂತ ballpoint pen ತರ ಇರುತ್ತದು, but instead of ink it uses an electronic head. So ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲದೆ it consists of a tablet that contains an electronic field which detects movement of the cursor or pen and translates these movements into digital signals which is easily understood by the computer. So digitizing tablets are also called as digitizers, athwa graphic tablets, or touch tablets, or simply tablets. An upgradation to this digitizing tablet is that nowadays these digitizing tablets allow the user to simply use their fingers instead of a pen or any other device to give an input to the computer. Moving on to the next slide. So central processing unit. Now ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅಥವಾ CPU ನ we call it as brain of the computer. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ it executes or processes the instructions given to the computer. So any type of instruction may it be. Once it is given to the computer through one of the input devices, it processes the given input. So the CPU contains the following components. The first one is your control unit. The second one is arithmetic logic unit. The third one is memory registers. Coming to the first one, that is the control unit. What does a control unit do? A control unit na kelsa enu? Control unit, it reads and interprets instructions from memory and transforms them into series of signals to be executed or sorted or stored. Another function it is also directs the movement of these electronic signals between memory and ALU or between CPU and input-output devices. So control unit ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it basically coordinates all the activities of units in a system. It instructs the rest of the components of computer about how to carry out a particular task, how to carry out this particular program instruction. Anadana, so adu coordinate ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So to put in simple words, the control unit fetches instructions from memory, decodes them, and directs it to the various units to perform some specified functions. That is the major or primary function of control unit. So moving on to next slide. Here we have arithmetic logic unit, so abbreviated as ALU. So ALU alli ಎರಡು major functions ಇದೆ. That is, it performs two major types of operations. One is your arithmetic operation ಅಥವಾ logical operation. So arithmetic operations andre the fundamental mathematical operations that we use in our day-to-day life, that is your addition, subtraction, multiplication ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ shifting operation ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, based on the requirement and scenario. Then what is your logical operation? Logical operations are those operations which involve some kind of Boolean comparison. What is a Boolean comparison? Andre the operations which result in either yes or no. In case of a computer operation, it is either 0 or 1. So examples of such Boolean operations are and, or, and not. Next, we have memory registers. What is a memory register? Memory register is a sort of special storage area that holds the data and instructions temporarily during processing. ಈ CPU ಬಂದು it processes data and instruction at very high speeds. There is a movement of data between various units of a computer at high speeds. So the computer needs to have a special memory unit called as memory registers that holds the data and instructions temporarily, and also which is present internally in the CPU so that the processing time is very less. So this makes the processing more efficient. To locate characters ಅಥವಾ instructions main memory locate ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ the computer ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, it stores it in a known addresses. Each known address is given some kind of unique number. If you want to compare with our life, this can be compared with post office mailboxes. As in case of post office mailboxes, their numbers remain the same, but the contents inside them continuously change. So The contents in this memory are held only temporarily. That is, as long as our computer is turned on, the contents remain safe. When we turn off the machine, the contents in it are lost. The capacity to hold the data and program depends on the different computers. Different computers have different capacity to hold. Moving on to the next slide. Working of CPU and memory. So, the control unit recognizes the program has been loaded into memory. So, control unit first recognize ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ that a program ಬಂದು ಮೆಮೊರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. So then it executes stepwise. The first step is it asks the user to enter first number. Enter first number ಅಂತ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ. This is our first input entered by the user. The second step is, suppose a user enters an input, say a number 100 keyboard ಅಲ್ಲಿ enter ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, an electronic signal is sent to CPU, which indicates that the user has entered the number 100 on the keyboard. So, ಈ control unit ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, recognize ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Okay, this signal, and it routes, that is, directs this signal to an address in memory. For example, say address 7 ಅಂತ. ಈ instruction complete ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ, so the next instruction again asks the user to enter the second number. Enter second number ಅಂತ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ. This is our second input entered by the user. So the next step, suppose the user enters number 4 on the keyboard, which is the second input. Again, an electronic signal is sent to the CPU. The step number 3 is again repeated. That is, the control unit recognizes this signal and directs it to some memory address, say memory address 8. So the next instruction ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, multiply the first and second number. That is, multiply the first input and the second input, which is 100 into 4. The control unit also informs ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit, that two numbers are coming to you and you have to multiply them. So it also sends a copy of the contents that is stored in the address 7 and 8, which is 100 and 4, the two inputs entered by the user. So ALU then performs multiplication. So that is the arithmetic function of arithmetic operation, that is 100 into 4, which is 400. Then after performing the multiplication, the control unit ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಒಂದು copy of multiplied result 400 na it stores in some memory address, say address 9. The next step is the instruction has to be the result that we received has to be printed. That is, print the result. So this instruction execute ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ, again the control unit sends the contents of address 9 where we have stored our result 400 to monitor. So monitor in ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, displays the value 400, then the final instruction end is executed. So there are total 14 steps involved in a simple multiplication operation. So moving on to the next slide, output devices. So now we'll be talking about output devices. So output device ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, it receives information from CPU and presents it to the user in some desired form. ನಾವು ನೋಡುವಂತಹ ಕಾಮನ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಬಂದು ಮಾನಿಟರ್ಸ್, ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ಸ್, ಪ್ಲಾಟರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ಕಾಮನ್ ನಾವು ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್. ಸೊ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಾನಿಟರ್. Monitor is just like our television screen. It is used to display data and information. When some data or instruction is being keyed in, the monitor displays the characters that are being typed. Monitors ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸೈಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. So they are available in various sizes. They may also differ for different types of computer. Now standard size of monitor ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, it is 24 lines by 80 characters. So whatever the thing that is displayed on the monitor, it is called as soft copy, and the monitor is categorized into two types. That is, one is CRT and the another one is TFT LCD monitors. Let's talk about CRT, which is cathode ray tube monitor. It is an older type of monitor. It is quite bulky and occupy a lot of disk space, as you can see in the image. And not only that, they also consume a lot of electricity. Hence, these are being replaced by TFT LCD monitors. What is TFT? TFT is thin film transistor and LCD stands for liquid crystal display. Anta. As you can see in the image, these are lighter and occupy less space as in comparison to our CRT monitors. They are also commonly called as flat screen displays and also consume much less electricity. So nowadays we have something called as LED monitors, which means light emitting diode monitors, are also being used in place of TFT LCD monitors. So another common output device is printers. Let's talk about printers. Printer na ನಾವು printouts ತೆಗೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So printer is basically a device that produces output on paper. Such an output is known as hard copy. So now last our monitors ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಂಗೆ anything that we type on monitors, anything that is displayed on monitors is called as soft copy. So here anything that is put on a paper, printed on a paper, that is known as hard copy. So it may be of anything, it may be of a form of text or graphics. So there are different types of printers. Let's talk in detail about each one of them. So the first one is dot matrix printer anta karitivi. So idರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the print head ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು. So this type of printer uses a print head which moves in back and forth or up and down motion on the page. So print head strikes on an inked soaked cloth ribbon that is laid against a paper. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಇಂಕ್ ಇಂದ ಸೋಕ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ ರಿಬನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೇಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಪೇಪರ್. ಸೊ ದ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಡಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟೆಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಪೇಪರ್. ಸೊ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಕ್ ಜೆಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನ. ಸೊ ಇಂಕ್ ಜೆಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ ಹೇಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, it consists of ink which is ionized. Ionized ink andre the ink which is charged with ions. So these are called as ionized ink. So first it primarily sprays this ionized ink on a sheet of paper. Then it consists of some kind of magnetized plates in the ink path. Hege now spray madadmele it consists of some magnetized plates ink path ali, which direct the ink on the paper how to which pattern to take place. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟೈಸ್ಡ್ ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಇಂಕ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಮಾಡಿರೋದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಪೇಪರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ ದ ಡಿಸೈರ್ಡ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಯೂಸರ್. ಸೊ ಇಂಕ್ ಜೆಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಕೇಪಬಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಬೆಟರ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ದನ್ ಡಾಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್. So a typical inkjet printer provides a resolution of 300 dots per inch. So now newer models may offer higher resolutions too. So these are also known as line printers anta karitivi ನಾವು inkjet printers na. Why means because it produces line by line output na, it produces line by line. So hence it is also called as line printers. So the price of inkjet printers is lower than that of another type of printers known as laser printers. So however, but these inkjet printers are considerably slower, and another drawback is, so this kind of printers, they require a special type of ink, that is a spraying and ionized ink anta nodidivi illi. So this kind of inkjet printers require a special type of ink. Moving on to the next slide. So as mentioned in the last printer type, there is another type known as laser printer anta ide. So how does a laser printer work? It works on a principle of photocopier anta. It utilizes a laser beam to produce an image on a drum, the light of the laser alters the electrical charge on the drum wherever it hits. The drum is then rolled through a reservoir of toner which is picked up by charged portions of the drum. Finally, the toner is transferred to the paper through a combination of heat and pressure. So since the entire page is transmitted to a drum before the toner is applied, laser printers are sometimes called as page printers anta kuda navu karitivi. The speed of the laser printers ranges about 4 to 20 pages of text per minute. So ಇದನ್ನ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಹೇಗೆ ಲೇಸರ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಲೇಸರ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ there is a laser beam which is then beamed onto a drum. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಡ್ರಮ್ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಲೇಸರ್ ಬೀಮ್ ನ ನಮಗೆ ಡಿಸೈರ್ಡ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಹೇಗ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಅದು ಡ್ರಮ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ವೇರ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಲೇಸರ್ ಬೀಮ್ ಹಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಡ್ರಮ್, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಡ್ರಮ್ ಮೇಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಲೇಸರ್ ಬೀಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ನ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ ಈ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಜಾಗಗಳನ್ನ ದ ಡ್ರಮ್ ಇಸ್ ರೋಲ್ಡ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಅ ಟೋನರ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಟೋನರ್ ಇಂದ ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಡ್ರಮ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಡ್ರಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಟೋನರ್ ಇಂದ ಕಾಪಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡ್ರಮ್ ಇಸ್ pressed against a paper with heat and pressure so that the desired shape is transferred to the paper. So this is how a laser printer works. We have another type of printer known as the thermal printers. Thermal printers produce images. ಹೇಗೆ image produce ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, by pushing electrically heated pins against special heat sensitive paper. So we use a special kind of paper known as heat sensitive paper ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, where the electrically heated ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಇಂದ ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಪಿನ್ಸ್ ನ we press against a heat sensitive paper. So these kind of printers are comparatively inexpensive and are used in most calculators and many fax machines. So they produce low quality print. The print quality ashtu chanagirodilla compared to the laser prints or even the last kind of printers. So idrinda enagutte andre the paper tends to curl and fade after a few weeks or months. Hence they are kind of inexpensive. So moving on to another common output device is plotter anta karitivi. Plotter andre enu andre, it is a device that is used to draw charts, graphs, maps, etc. So with 2 or more automated pens irutte adralli. So using those automated pens we draw charts, graphs or maps depending on the application. So there are multicolor plotters too, which means they have different colored automated pens to produce multicolored output. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್. ಸೊ ದ ಡ್ರಮ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟರ್. ಇಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಪೇಪರ್ wrapped around a moving drum and the pens move on the paper to print the output. So the next type of plotter is a flatbed plotter anta karitivi, which consists of a flat surface on which the paper is placed and pens move to draw the output. Electrostatic plotter anta ondide, which is a negatively charged paper. Andre ನಾವು negatively charge ಆಗಿರೋ paper ನ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So how do we do is we use a positively charged toner on a negatively charged paper. So this kind of plotters ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, we are basically used in CAD ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಏಡೆಡ್ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಏಡೆಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಟರ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So they were like the first of the devices that could print full-sized engineering drawings with color. Hence they find applications in CAD and CAM. Moving on to the next slide. So one of the most common output device that we all are aware of is speaker. Speaker en ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು this is used to produce audio output. Computers, they have sound cards that enable the computer to produce audio output through speakers. So nowadays, 3D audio is a technique for giving more depth to traditional stereo sound. So typically a 3D sound or 3D audio is produced by placing a device in room with stereo speakers. This device dynamically analyzes the sound coming from speakers and sends feedback to the sound system so that it can read just the sound to give the impression that speakers are further apart. Andre 3D audio andre, so it's like surrounded by us. So 3D audio devices are like particularly for improving computer audio where speakers tend to small and close together. So ಆ ತರ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡಿಯೋನ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ we use a 3D audio, so which gives an impression that the speakers are far apart. Moving on to the next slide. So memory unit. Memory unit ಅಲ್ಲಿ there are two kinds of computer memory ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದೆ, that is your primary and secondary ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ. So primary memory is accessible directly by central processing unit. RAM is an example of primary memory. So as soon as the computer is switched off, the primary memory loses its contents. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ contents ನ ಅದು ಕಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. So RAM is an example, as mentioned, of primary memory. But in case the user needs to store data that can be retrieved at faster rate with primary memory as compared to the secondary memory, there the primary memory is useful, which means the retrieving rate is much faster with the primary memory. Hence, it depends on the application whether the data needs to be stored in the primary memory or in the secondary memory. So example of the secondary memory are like storage devices like a floppy disk, magnetic disk, hard disk, CD, pen drive. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು secondary memory devices ಒಂದು examples. So this kind of secondary memory storage devices, it might be present inside the computer or outside the computer. So for example, so you will ನೋಡಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ hard disk. So that there is an internal hard disk too and an external hard disk. So ಈ CD, so which is an external thing that is inserted into the computer. So same with the pen drive. So pen drive is an external tool that is inserted into the computer and where the data can be stored. So primary memory ನಾವು ಏನನ್ನ ಇಡಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇಡಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ set of instructions ನ primary memory ಇಡಬಹುದು, because computer can access them instantly. So ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, so for example on the railway reservation counter ಅಲ್ಲಿ, so in case you need to you're booking some ticket, so ಅವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, so availability of seats, calculate fare, wait for the money to be paid, ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್, ಮತ್ತೆ print the ticket, ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ so we keep in a primary memory of the computer. So in computer's memory, so whatever the program and data are stored, it is stored in the binary form. That is, binary system, it has only two digits, 0 ಮತ್ತೆ 1. These are called bits. Moving on to the next slide. So measuring memory anta. So what is measuring memory? So the primary ಅಥವಾ internal storage unit, it is made up of several small storage locations called cells. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು internal storage ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ primary storage ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, it is composed of several small storage locations which are called cells. It is the basic unit. So each of these cells can store a fixed number of bits called word length ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ. So each cell has a unique number assigned to it, as mentioned earlier, called the address of that particular cell, which is used to identify the cell. So basically a memory is like a large cabinet which contains as many drawers as there are addresses on memory. So each drawer contains a word and address which is written on outside of the drawer. So which is an example that is relating to we can relate this particular memory to our real life example. So as mentioned earlier, the data is in computer is stored in the form of zeros and ones. So each of this is known as a bit, and a collection of 8 bits constitutes a term known as byte. Each memory contains one character or one byte of data. So the capacity is defined in terms of bytes or words. So here you can see different units of memory, that is nibble, byte, kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, yottabyte. So here you can see the abbreviations of it. Here a bit means is a binary digit which is single 1 or 0. Nibble is 4 bits. 8 bits form 1 byte. 1024 bytes form 1 kilobyte, and 1024 kilobytes form 1 megabyte, and so on. Moving on to the next slide. Primary memory. What is primary memory? Is a memory that is accessed by the processor directly. It is also known as main memory or internal memory. So what is its applications? That is, it helps in executing applications that are temporarily stored in a specific memory location. So now ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ನೋಡಿದಂಗೆ primary memory is of two types, which is either RAM or ROM. So RAM stands for random access memory. It is the type of memory in which it is possible to randomly select and use any location of the memory directly to store and retrieve data. It is also called as read or write memory anta kariತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನ. So RAM ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು it is a volatile type of memory. What is volatile type of memory andre, as soon as you switch off the computer, the contents in the RAM is lost. You can't retrieve the data that is present in the RAM as soon as you switch off the computer. So adakagi idana navu volatile memory anta karitivi, which means as long as the computer is on, the data is present. As soon as you turn off the computer, the data is lost. So the next type of memory, that is the primary memory, is ROM. Idana navu read only memory anta karitivi. So read-only memory andre, this is another type of primary memory from which data can only be read. We cannot write or modify data once written onto the ROM. Also, ee tarada memory is not volatile, which means the data is still retained even when you turn off the computer. So the storage of a program and data in ROM is permanent. The ROM stores some standard processing programs supplied by the manufacturers to operate our computer. Hence, these kind of programs need to be perfect for proper functioning of a computer. So the basic input, for example, the basic input output system, the BIOS anta kariತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ, that is stored in the ROM, which other function ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, it examines and initializes the startup process of the computer and also checks various peripheral device if they have been attached properly to the PC when the computer is turned on. So ಇದು ಅದರ application. This is kind of the permanent. This is kind of the programs that are to be present in it permanently for the proper functioning of computer. So there are different types of ROMs. So let's discuss it one by one. The first type of ROM is programmable read-only memory, which is abbreviated as PROM, PROM anta kariತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ. It is not possible to modify or erase programs stored in ROM, but it is possible for you to store your program in a PROM chip. Once the programs are returned to it, it cannot be changed. Also, the program is not lost even if the power is switched off. So ಸೊ ಅದು ಬಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಬಲ್ ರೀಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಮ್ ಚಿಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್ ಟೈಪ್. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ರೈಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಇಟ್, ದಟ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ it becomes permanent. Even if you switch off the computer, the program is not lost. Then there is another type known as erasable programmable read-only memory. EEPROM ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಈ ಪ್ರಾಮ್ದು ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಓವರ್ಕಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ EEPROM chip can be programmed time and again by erasing the information which is already present in it earlier. Information stored in EEPROM can be erased by exposing it to the ultraviolet light. So this memory can be time to time reprogrammed using special programming facility. When the EEPROM is in use, information can only be read. So another type of ROM is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory known as EEPROM, that is EEPROM. This type of ROM is somewhat similar to the last type of ROM, that is EEPROM we saw. The only difference is that there we use ultraviolet light to erase the data and reprogram it. Here electrical signals are used to erase the contents of EEPROM, and also this type of ROM need not be completely erased. So partial modification of ROM is possible. Moving on to the next slide. Cache memory. The speed of CPU is extremely high as compared to the access time of main memory. Therefore, the performance of CPU decreases due to slow speed of main memory. In order to increase the performance of CPU, we insert a very small memory chip between CPU and memory, whose access time is very close to the processing speed of CPU. This memory, which is inserted between the CPU and main memory, is known as the cache memory. ಈ cache memory na ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? It is used to store programs or data currently being executed ಅಥವಾ data that is being frequently used by the CPU. This is a very expensive memory and also has to be used in a limited amount. ಈ ಕ್ಯಾಶೆ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ರ್ಯಾಮ್ ಗಿಂತ much faster access time ಇದೆ. So that is why it is used to store data that is currently being executed or data that is frequently used by the CPU. Cache memory we are also known as CPU memory, which is integrated directly with the CPU chip or is placed separately on the motherboard. Now, microprocessor process ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಂಗೆ data, it first looks in the cache memory. If the required data or the instructions are found there, it does not have to spend more time in reading data from other storage devices, which have a relatively slower access time. Hence, the overall processing speed increases. Moving on to next slide. Secondary memory. So now last slide alli ನೋಡ್ದಂಗೆ, so cache memory or the primary memory, it is a very expensive memory and also the storage there is very limited. So we need a secondary memory where we can store hundreds of millions of bytes of data for the CPU to process. So this additional memory is required in each and every computer system in order to store a large amount of data. So this particular type of memory is called auxiliary memory or secondary storage anta navu idanna karitivi. So in this type of memory, the cost per bit of storage is low. However, the operating speed is lower than that of the primary. Huge volume of data are stored here on permanent basis and transferred to the primary storage as and when required. So primary storage ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದಂಗೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಡೇಟಾನ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಹುದು. So there are other storage devices too, like hard disk, CDs, DVDs and pen drives. So there are both internal and external secondary storage devices. For example, hard disk ali, it can be integrated in the system itself, or there are other external hard disks too. CD, DVD, and pen drives are external tools which are inserted into the CPU in order to transfer data. Moving on to the next slide. So a few examples of the memory units are like, the first one is your magnetic disk. So what is a magnetic disk is, so ನೀವು ಹಳೆ ಗ್ರಾಮಫೋನ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ನ ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ವಿತ್ ಕೋಟೆಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ತರದ ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್, ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಗ್ರಾಮಫೋನ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್. So what happens is it rotates at a very high speed inside the disk drive. So data are stored on both the surfaces of the disk. Here you can see the disk. So here the data are stored on both the surfaces. So magnetic disks are popular for direct access storage, which we'll be talking about it in the later slide. So each disk consists of a number of invisible concentric circles. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸದೇ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಮೈನ್ಯೂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಂಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಗಳಿರ್ತವೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು we call it tracks. So information is recorded on tracks of a disk surface in the form of magnetic spots. In the form of a tiny magnetic spot, the information is recorded on both the tracks. So the presence of magnetic spot represents 1 bit, that is 1, and its absence is represented by 0 bit, which means 0, which means no data is present there. So the information which is stored on the disk is non-destructive, which means that it can be read many times without affecting the stored data. But in case namage hosa data, that is if we want to write a new data onto it, then the existing data is erased from the disk. Adadmele new data is recorded into it. So the next is floppy disk. Floppy disk anadu, it is 3.5 inch in diameter. So we're talking about its dimensions here. So capacity of a 3.5 inch floppy is 1.44 megabytes, that is 1.44 MB. So compared to the current memory storage devices, this is very less, but it is also a cheaper storage device, and it is portable, suitable for personal computers. So floppy disks are nowadays obsolete because of storage space, which is very small in floppy disk in comparison to other storage devices. But a standard 3.5 inch floppy offers a storage of 1.44 megabytes. Moving on to the next slide. Hard disk. So what is a hard disk? So hard disk, it is the most common used secondary storage device that we can find. So it is usually fixed inside the CPU cabinet, but there are, as mentioned earlier, there are external hard disk present too, which can be connected to the PC so that data transfer takes place and can be stored in the external hard disk as well. Hard disk consists of a set of numerous disks. As you can see in the diagram here, it consists of a set of numerous disks which are stacked one above the another with a cylindrical spindle in between. Here you can see a straight rod passing through all the stack, passing through the entire stack. So this particular thing is called as a cylindrical spindle. And how is the data recorded on this disk? So the data is recorded electromagnetically in the form of concentric circles called tracks, as mentioned earlier. So again, the tracks are further divided into blocks. Here you can see. So here, these are the tracks which are divided into a further block. There is a read or write head mounted on the arm. So here you can see this is an arm. Here, this is a read or write head. So which is used to read the data which is stored on the disks, or it is used to write new data onto the disk. So moving on to the next slide, we have optical disk. So what is an optical disk? So it is a device that is used to store large volume of data and which is portable too, and it is divided into a number of categories. The first one is the compact disk read only memory, so which is CD-ROM. So this kind of CD-ROM, so these are made of reflective metals. So a CD-ROM is returned during the process of manufacturing by high power laser beam. ಒಂದು high power laser beam ಇಂದ CD-ROM ನ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ರೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ. So here the storage density is high and the storage cost is low. Access time is relatively faster. So ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ approximately 4.5 inches ಇರುತ್ತೆ diameterly, that is we are talking about its dimension, and around 600 MB of the data ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, which is low compared to the current storage devices. So CD-ROM na bari read only iradinda we cannot write or make changes into the data contained in it. So another type of compact disk is the recordable one, CDR. So this particular compact disk overcomes the issues with the lost compact disk read only memory. So adenappa andre, so in CD-ROM we could only read from it, we cannot write or make changes into the data contained in it. But in case of CDR, which is the compact disk recordable, so we can be used to write data on them and provide your computer has a CD writer. So andre ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು CD writer ಇದ್ರೆ, so we can write new data onto the CD. So how does it write? Means it uses a special laser light to write data onto a blank CD. Once the CDR has been burnt, that is data adana write ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು, so the process of writing the data onto the CDR is called burning it. Burning a CD ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು. So it cannot be modified once you write it. So the information can be added to it, but the parts that have been burnt cannot be edited. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು CDR ಅಲ್ಲಿ, so suppose if it is a blank CD, then we can write or burn new data into it, so which overcomes the issues of the last CD-ROM. But hey, like if we don't finish it, that is if we partially fill it, then the burnt data cannot be modified, but instead an additional data can be added to the remaining space left on the CDR. Moving on to the next slide. So we have compact disk read or write, that is called CD read or write, or RRW. So this type of CD overcomes the issues with the last two categories. That is, the first category could only read from it, we couldn't write it. But the second category we could write it, but once it is written, we couldn't modify it. But this type of compact disk read or write, in which we can be used for both reading and writing. Also, this can be written and erased again and again. So the next is digital versatile disk, popularly known as DVD. So a DVD is an optical storage disk with much larger storage capacity than that of CDs. A single DVD can store up to 4.7 GB of data. So due to its high storage capacity, these things are generally used to store movies or other audio files or any other files. So we have a concept called as flash memory. What is a flash memory? Andre, it is a memory chip that is used for storage and also for transferring of data between computer and digital device. So ಈ ತರದ ಫ್ಲಾಶ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಒಂದು ಡೇಟಾನ ರಿಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಪೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಕಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೀಂಗ್ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಡೇಟಾನ ರಿಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So that is why these are non-volatile, which means even if you switch off or even if the electrical supply is cut off to the computer, the data is stored. The data doesn't disappear. So devices which use these flash memories erase data at block level. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, so a block of flash memory chip must be erased before data is written on it. So ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ನ erase ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ you can write new data onto it. So these kind of flash memories ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅವರ್ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಫೋನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, USB ಫ್ಲಾಶ್ ಡ್ರೈವ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾಸ್, solid state drives. These are a few examples of these flash memories. It is kind of least expensive form of semiconductor memory which is non-volatile and also consumes very less power. So ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲಾರಿಟಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಡೇ ಬೈ ಡೇ, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಇನ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಟು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂಡ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಕೇಲಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್. So these kind of flash memories are very fast access time. They have very fast access time and also has higher resistance to kinetic shocks as compared to the hard disk drive. It is extremely durable. It can withstand extreme pressure and temperature. Pen drive ಹಾಗೂ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಇದರ ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಇದು. ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್. Now we have memory accessing modes anta. So idrali there is one thing you need to understand is addressing mode anta. What is an addressing mode? It refers to the manner in which a given memory location is accessed. So ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಯಾವ ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಅಡ್ರೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಮೋಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, direct access or random access, sequential access memory ಅನ್ನೋದು, these are some of the memory accessing modes that we use. The first one is our direct access or random access ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನ. So this type of accessing mode ಅಲ್ಲಿ, in which the value is to be stored in a particular memory location, is obtained directly. Since the data can be accessed in any order, that is why this type of memory access is also known as random access of memory. This type of memory access is generally fast and more flexible. So ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ random access ಒಂದು image ನೋಡಬಹುದು. Here these are the storage locations which are numbered as 1, 3, 7, 2, 8, 6, 4, 5. ಈಗ suppose we need to access 3 location 3, so it can be directly accessed here. We need not start from 1 and then proceed to 2, then proceed to 3. Instead, we can directly access 3. Suppose if we need to access 8, from 3 we can directly access 8. We need not go through 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then to access 8. So this is what direct access or the random access means. Directly accessing a particular storage locations without having to go through the rest of the locations in order to reach there. So we have another access addressing mode, that is your sequential access memory anta. Ee tarada memory type ali the data stored is read in a sequence, that is one after the another. Suppose you need to access the fourth record here. In order to access the fourth record here, we need to travel from 1 to 4 sequentially, that is the first one, then from 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, then 3 to 4. The access is sequential. So that is why this is called as sequential access memory. This is comparatively slower and compared to the direct access or the random access addressing mode. This is slower because it takes a lot of time to travel from 1 to 4 as in comparison to the random access where we can directly access the location 4. So this is time consuming and slow. Moving on to the next slide. Now we'll be talking about ports. So the formal definition of ports is that they are the connecting points in a CPU. So these are the connecting points where we insert our monitors, our basic components like monitor, keyboard, printer, peripheral devices like pen drive, or even connecting a mobile to a PC. So these are the points through which we connect to this CPU. So there are different types of ports. So they are serial port, parallel port, USB port. First, let's talk about the serial port. So what is a serial port? So this thing is used to transfer data one bit at a time. So this is basically a single wire. On the single wire ಅದು 8 bits of data na transmit ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. When the start byte has to be transmitted before each byte of data, and a stop bit has to be sent after the byte. So which means in order to transfer a data, in order to indicate that a data will be transferred, first we need to send a start byte which indicates that the data transmission will take place and it will be starting now. So after finishing the transfer, we need to send a stop bit which indicates the end of a particular transmission. So another name for this serial port is also known as a COM port or RS232C anta kariತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನ. So they come in a form of 9 pin or 25 pin male connector anta kariತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ. So the next port is the parallel port. So parallel port sends or receives 8 bits 1 byte at a time. That is 8 bits 1 byte means 8 bits. So these 8 bits are transmitted parallel to each other. So that is, these ports come in the form of 25 pin female connector and are generally used to connect devices like printer ಅಥವಾ scanner. So external hard disk ಗಳಾಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಅದನ್ನ parallel port ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. We have another port, that is the USB port. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus anta kariತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ, Universal Serial Bus. So this is one of the most popular tool that we use in a day-to-day life. It is used to connect variety of devices like printers, scanners, mouse, keyboards, speakers. It is very easy to use and simple. Just we need to plug in and use. So we have another port known as infrared port anta kariತೀವಿ. So ಈ ತರ ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದು it sends and receives a ray of light of infrared frequency from one device to another. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ವೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಟ್ ಎನಿ ಡೇಟಾ ವೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೈ ಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಲೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾರೆಡ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಒಂದು ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಇಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡಿವೈಸ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ infrared thing finds its application in TV remotes. So here ನಾವು TV remote ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಆನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ we can see that pressing a button will lead to some activity in the TV. So but in case of a computers, it is used for wireless keyboard irbodu, wireless mouse irbodu. So that is, this particular application of infrared frequency is applied in case of a wireless keyboard or a wireless mouse. Then we have Bluetooth. Bluetooth is one of the most common things that we all are aware of. So Bluetooth andre, like it is used in basically telecommunication industry specification, that is to connect mobile phones, computers and other devices to connect to each other. Adu ಏನಕ್ಕಾರು ಇರಬಹುದು, in order to either maybe for call receiving purpose ಇರಬಹುದು. So this is a short range wireless connection, which means that only a maximum range of 10 meters is possible in case of a Bluetooth communication. Are not a trustworthy kind of a connections, because it is a short range and easily manipulatable or accessed by other intruders. Moving on to the next slide. So the whole computers ಒಂದು classify ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, so the computers are classified according to their shapes ಇರಬಹುದು, sizes ಇರಬಹುದು, according to the technology that is being used ಇರಬಹುದು. So in order to generalize this can be like divided into 3 types basically. The first type is your analog computers anta kariತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ. So ಈ ತರದ computer, they work continuously with the varying quantities, like continuous and physical quantities, that is your temperature, voltage, current, weight. So these kind of analog computers, they work with your physical quantities like temperature, voltage, current, weight, etc. Nama digital computers as to these are not accurate, but they are used for scientific purpose applications like blood pressure na monitor mado machine alli. So ಆ ತರದ applications ಗಳಿಗೆ we use analog computers. The second category is known as digital computers. So these computers work with discrete quantities. That is, the data is converted into the binary form, 0 and 1s ತರ convert ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Binary means 0 and 1. So ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ these are much faster than the analog computers and more accurate. For example, ಒಂದು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ digitally programmed watches are good example for digital computers. Moving on to the next classification of computer is hybrid computer ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So this is ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳೋ ಹಾಗೆ this is a hybrid which is a mixture of both analog and digital technology. So some calculations of it will take place in an analog manner while others takes place in the form of a digital manner. So ಇದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಮನ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ವೆದರ್ ಫೋರ್ಕಾಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So now one of the categories of computers is the digital computer, which is again further divided into a number of categories. The first one is microcomputer. So what is a microcomputer andre? So ಒಂದು microprocessor chip ಇರುತ್ತೆ inside. That is known as a microcomputer. It's basically that contains a microprocessor chip inside. So these are particularly used in the offices, homes, schools, etc. These microcomputers are again further categorized as mobile computers anta karitivi. So they are called mobile computers because they can be held in hand. They are very compact, they are portable. So idana variety of purposes ge use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So as they are handheld and they are portable, they have limited capabilities. They cannot be used very extensively. So one example of this type of microcomputer is a smartphone. So which has a limited power compared to a general PC or so, but it can be used extensively because only because of its handheld and microcomputers is further divided into a number of categories. The first one is your mobile computer. Mobile computer means as indicated by the name itself, these are very handheld and used for a variety of purposes. They are very portable. So although they have a very limited capabilities, they are used extensively because of the features that they offer. An example of this is our smartphone that we use in our day-to-day life. A smartphone has an internet connection. So we use web services like email, chat, video, GPS, online games. It also has a touchscreen feature in it. So another type of computer is the portable personal computers. So portable computers are like microcomputers, which includes laptops, notebooks, tablets. These are particularly larger in size than the previous category. So they can be easily carried from one place to another. So these are more powerful when compared to a smartphone. So the next is your mini computers. So the mini computers provide faster operating system and larger storage capacity. Microcomputers compare madadre. So it also has a multi-user environment, which means multi-users can access it at the same time. So it also supports a large number of high-speed input or output devices, and many users can work simultaneously on these systems. So on the small organizations irbodu like 50 to 100 users iroro, so they can use this kind of mini computers as their servers. So then we have our mainframe computers anta, athwa we call it as simply mainframe antanu kuda karitivi. This is the second largest type of computer in terms of the capacity irbodu or in terms of the size. So mainframes are very expensive and also huge. They can support hundreds of users at a time. So these multiprocessor systems have a very large storage capacity. They can handle huge and bulk volumes of data and information. They are used in very large organizations like railways irbodu, where centralized data for the entire railway reservation system is maintained. So moving on to the next slide, we have supercomputers anta karitivi idana. So supercomputers are the most powerful computers in the world. So in a supercomputer, many processors work simultaneously. They have very high speed processing. They are super expensive. They process a very huge volumes of data and information with very fast calculations. So supercomputers na ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ವೆದರ್ ಫೋರ್ಕಾಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್, ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಾಡೆಲಿಂಗ್, ವೇರ್ ದ data and informations are enormous and requires very high speed processing in order to come to a particular situation. Here we have a few MCQs which we'll solve. So the first MCQ is, which of the following is not an output device? So basically output device andre eno, anything that is an output device is basically a device which is used to communicate the result to the user. Will come from the scanner. Is scanner an output device? Scanner alli enagutte, so if you remember the previous slide, so scanner alli the user gives an input, it scans it and converts the data into a soft copy, or the copy that is understandable by the computer. Hence, it is not an input device, but it is not an output device, but an input device. So as compared to the other option, LCD, it is used to display. Printer, it is used to print data on a paper like a hard copy, so which is an output. Plotter, it is used to plot graphs, so which is again is an output. Hence, the only option which is not an output device is scanner, which is an input device. So this is the answer. Moving on to the next MCQ, what the term petabyte PB refers to. So if we remember the memory hierarchy there in the previous slide, so we can see that 1 petabyte is 1024 terabytes. So this is the correct option. Moving on to the next slide. So consider the following statements. 4 bits make 1 nibble. 1 megabyte is equal to 1024 kilobytes. 1 terabyte is equal to 1024 gigabyte. Which of the above given statement is or correct? So select the code for the correct answer from the options given below. So A and C only, A and B only, B and C only, A, B and C. So if you take a look at the memory hierarchy, we see that 4 bits make 1 nibble, and 1 megabyte is equal to 1024 kilobytes, and 1 terabyte is equal to 1024 gigabyte. So in this case, A, B and C, all three are correct. So we choose the option A, B and C. Moving on to the next slide. So the storage capacity of 3.5-inch floppy disk is. So as I explained, for a 3.5-inch floppy disk, there is a standard size of 1.44 MB. So the correct answer in this case is option 3, 1.44 MB. So which of the following memories has a shortest access time? So magnetic memory, semiconductor memory, cache memory and super memory. So while explaining the memories, I explained that cache memory is the fastest memory. So therefore, it has the shortest access time when compared to the other memories like magnetic memory agirbodu, semiconductor memory agirbodu, super memory agirbodu. So they have a slower access time when compared to the cache memory. Hence, cache memory has the shortest access time. Hence, it is more expensive when compared to the other kinds of memory. So hope you liked my session. Thank you very much.